Assalamu alaikum. This is Talk to Farina Najam from Division of Arts and Social Sciences, University of Education, Lower Mall Campus, Lahore. The course title is Advanced Landscape Painting and the course code is 54135. Dear students, hope you are fine. Today in the lecture number 27, I will discuss about the rules of perspective. First of all, what is perspective? Perspective is a technique used in drawing or painting to give an image on a flat surface a sense of depth. An artist uses this nifty tool to make her imagery look more realistic and accurate as we see it in real life. Perspective creates the illusion of depth and distance on an otherwise flat surface. There are three basic types of perspective: 1 point, 2 point and 3 point. The 1, 2 and 3 point refers to the number of vanishing points that are present when creating the illusion of depth and space. In addition to these, there is also 0 point perspective. 1 point perspective. 1 point perspective is the simplest method. It uses only a single vanishing point on the horizon line. First of all, I would like to share about horizon line and vanishing point. A horizon line across the picture, always at eye level. In art, we tend to use the term eye level rather than horizon as in many pictures. The horizon is frequently hidden by walls, buildings, trees, hills, etc. And vanishing point? Vanishing points are dots on the eye level where parallel lines seems to converge and disappear. So, in 1 point perspective, uses only a single vanishing point on the horizon line. A vanishing point is where two or more parallel lines converge into each other at infinity. A good example of this type perspective is a long hallway, railroad track, or road where the viewer is positioned face on looking down the center. As you can see in the illustration, the two tracks are parallel to each other and they will remain the same distance apart. However, the further away they get, the closer they appear to be until they eventually disappear at the horizon. You can see. Rule of 1 point perspective. Use 1 point perspective to create the illusion of distance in a drawing or painting. Here are some examples of 1 point perspective. You can see the landscape in 1 point perspective. One vanishing point. Another example. 1 point perspective. Another one. One point perspective example. You can see another example of landscape painting in 1 point perspective. You can see only one vanishing point. Another example. Two-point perspective. Two-point perspective comes into play when a drawing contains two vanishing points positioned randomly along the horizon line. This perspective positions the object where the viewer can look at the object from an angle and see two sides at one time. That is, looking at one corner with two sets of parallel lines moving away. An example of two-point perspective can be illustrated with the use of a box, cube, or other objects with the same geometric shape, such as a house or building. When looking at the object from the corner, one side recedes towards one vanishing point and the other side recedes toward the opposite vanishing point. As can be seen in the illustration, each set of parallel lines has its own vanishing point. Two-point perspective is what gives a geometric object the illusion of 3D. Rule: use two-point perspective to make a geometrical object appear to be three-dimensional. Example of two-point perspective. You can see two vanishing point, one side, another side. Two-point perspective. Example. Another example. You can see two vanishing points. Another example. Example of 1 and 2 point perspective. Three-point perspective. Three-point perspective is a little trickier than the other two because this type deals with three vanishing points. It includes two vanishing points somewhere on the horizon line, and there is also a vanishing point either above or below the horizon that all vertical lines lead to. This type perspective is great for rendering objects such as buildings and cityscapes. that are seen at an aerial or ground view. When the third vanishing point is above the horizon, then an image is created from an perspective, that is, looking up toward the image from below. When it is below the horizon, a bird's eye point of view is created where it feels as if you are looking down on the object from above. Rule: use 3-point perspective when you want to render building scenes such as cityscapes, complex close-up objects, and highly detailed interior scenes. Examples of 3-point perspective you can see. You can feel that you are looking down on the object from above. Another example. Zero-point perspective. Zero-point perspective is the technique used to give the illusion of depth when there are no parallel lines in the image and therefore no vanishing points. Vanishing points can only exist when the presence of parallel lines. However, a perspective without vanishing point can still create a sense of depth. That's where 0-point comes take effect. The most common example of depth without parallel lines or vanishing points is a natural setting such as mountain range or a landscape of hills and valleys. Rule: use 0-point perspective when there are no parallel line in an image to create the sense of depth. Thanks.